The next step is we go down this one way to the secret tunnel and hope that no vehicles are coming up the other way. There may be a little game of chicken. We're gonna win. Give us a head start. We don't need it. My speedometer says I'm almost going 90 miles an hour. Right. Pretty excited. Now we go into the secret, not so secret tunnel, but then when we exit it, we get into Garden of the Gods. You can actually start seeing Garden of the Gods right now, and Pikes Peak in the background. Now, like I said here, you can see all kinds of pathways and trails where the wild humans will migrate. Far distances of up to 1 mile, looking for the perfect selfie pastures. I don't see any right now, but I promise you we will. Does anyone know Colorado beans and where it comes from? Great answers. Destined to ride from Spanish for color red. Was the Spanish probably adopted from the Utes, the Native Americans of the area, because they called this whole area the ancient Redlands. Now, let's use our imaginations for a second. I know, it's difficult. I'll try to paint a picture. Imagine before you that there's no Garden of the Gods, no Pikes Peak, no mountains, nothing. It's just a flat plain. Now, 17 million years ago, when Pikes Peak started pushing up and rising, it forced the floor in some areas to flip over on its side. So those red rocks of sandstone you see before you actually used to be laid horizontal until they got flipped over. Is that pretty crazy or what? It's either that or some sorcery Gandalf used to raise them.
Got it.
It's going to be a lot of lame jokes on this one. Be prepared. Over here to the right, we have like one of the migration trails, and you see this fence line right there. That's actually there for our protection. But during the busy months, there's huge, vast migrations of wild humans on there. Now over here to the right, and also in front of us, you see this white sandstone. This white sandstone is from the ancestral Rocky Mountain Range, which pushed up 300 million years ago and eroded away into what you see before you. And the reason it's white is because it used to be below an ocean, and so the water leached out the red. Now behind the white, we have the red sandstone. That's from the second generation Rocky Mountain Range that pushed up and eroded away into sand dunes. And the reason it's red is because there's a lot of iron in it, and so it oxidized. Now up ahead, in this pathway that's used as a migration route, used to actually be the first road that went into the park. Over here to the right, we have a Rattlesnake Ridge. There are rattlers on occasion, so watch your step. If we start looking over here to the left, up at the red rocks at the top, you'll see a gap up there, that hole. That's the famous kissing camels. Yeah, they've been making out for millions of years. Look at them go at it. You'd think they'd get a room by now.
What makes all the holes in the rocks?
The holes are actually just from a wind erosion, but birds will nest in them. So over here to the right, we have this plant that's sage green. Anyone care to guess what kind of plant that is? That's correct. That's the hardest question on this whole entire tour. Also up ahead in these white sandstone formations, they found shark teeth and other marine life fossilized into the stone. Oh, up ahead we have a free-range human that's been domesticated by a canine. It's great when they take them for walks. Aww. Now, one of my favorite views and things to see is over here off to the left, where you can see how massive and huge these sandstone formations are. Remember, that used to be the floor flipped over on its side. And consider this. When Pikes Peak first formed, it was twice as tall as it is today before erosion took its toll, which means that this rock here was probably 2 to 3 times larger than it is today. And if we start looking behind this large rock, you're going to see the smaller set of rocks jutting up against it. The smaller set of rocks actually forced the big one up. And in between the two, you'll see a line. That's a fault line.
It looks like it's holding it up. Yeah, it does.
Sometimes over here to the right on that ridge line, we can see a bighorn sheep. The secret to finding bighorn sheep is looking for rocks with horns on them. A tried and true method. I don't see any right now, but they could be up there. Coming up soon, we're going to see one of the most iconic views of the garden. In fact, you've probably already seen plenty of pictures, whether it's from postcards, calendars, or Facebook. But you'll see soon enough what a majestic and beautiful view it is. And you can also see how the fault line went straight through here, flipping the floor over on its side, creating the sandstone formation you see before you today. Now, the way this place got its name, Garden of the Gods, can actually be traced back to ancient oral traditions of the Utes. The natives of this area have a legend that long ago a huge flood came to this area and destroyed their civilization. They had to go all the way to the top of Pikes Peak in order to survive. After the floodwaters receded, they came back down. However, they weren't alone. Accompanied them were 3 lesser spirits, and these deities came down here and built and erected these massive temples you see before you, known as Garden of the Gods, and reached out the Ute civilization once again. Yeah, that took several weeks in the library in order to source, let me tell you. Over here, we'll see to the left and right of us, juniper trees. And you may notice that some of them have berries on them, while others do not. And the reason for this is because one is male and the other is female. Does anyone know what juniper is traditionally used for? That's correct, gin. Now, during late fall, the juniper berry will start turning a dark purple to black color when it's ripe and tastes pretty good. However, if you eat it before it's ripe, it tastes more like pine sol, so I don't recommend it. Unless you're addicted to pine sol. In that case, there's plenty of fixes all around. If we start turning our gaze over here to the right, we're going to see a formation that looks like a large footprint. Does everyone see that? It's important everyone sees this for a lame joke. See? Bigfoot does exist. Dun, dun, dun. However, if you're ever here late at night and somebody starts throwing pebbles at you from the brush line, don't assume it's human. That's all I'm going to say about that. Word to the wise. Up ahead of us, you can see that rock face over there slanted. And the reason it's slanted is because when Pikes Peak and these hills pushed up from underground, it just rode the hillside itself, and that's why it's slanted with the hillside. Coming up over here to the left, we're going to see a formation known as the Scotsman. Some say you can see it better from this angle with this cover and stuff, and others say you can see it better further up ahead. I'll let you decide. Now, the way this place became a city park is an interesting story. Originally, a fellow by the name of Charles Perkins owned this land. He loved it very much and didn't allow any type of developments to be done here. After he passed away, his daughters knew how much he loved the area, and so they donated to the city. However, they had some conditions. That 1, it'd always stay open. 2, there'd never be a fee. 3, no developments be allowed. And lastly, because they were Quaker, that no alcohol be allowed in the park. And that was actually built into the city charter in 1909, and it's remained open and free ever since. However, until recently, they've actually installed big gates and have been closing at night because after 9 p.m., the average speed through the park is 90 miles an hour. And the reason for this is because teenage wild humans drag race through here. In fact, if you start looking up ahead around this bend, you're going to see some skid marks leading off the road. Oh, there you can see them now. And this is what happens when you take these turns too quickly. In fact, if we look over to the left as we pass the skid marks, you can see all the damage that the vehicle did to the vegetation. Yeah, I feel really bad for my last group. They were so traumatized. But look, we made it, right? That's good.
Good job.
So now up ahead, you see that mountain up there with a little bit of snow on it? That's Pikes Peak. Where the tree line ends, that's Timberline at 11,500 feet. Pikes Peak itself is 14,115 feet. Before it was known as Pikes Peak, it was known as El Capitan by the Spanish, which means the captain. And before that, Tabacaiv by the Utes, which means Sun Mountain. Has anyone ever heard of the Pikes Peak Hill Climb? Awesome. The Pikes Peak Hill Climb is the second oldest race in the nation. It's where they race race cars from the bottom to the top of the mountain. To give you some perspective, the average driver like you and I take about an hour to an hour and a half to get up. And the first race ever done was in 1916, and it was done in 23 minutes. Anyone care to guess what Volkswagen's all-new record was this year in their all-new electric race car?
8 minutes.
That's close enough. 7 minutes, 56 seconds. And if you've ever gone up there and seen the hairpin turns, you wonder how on earth they made it up. Oh, everyone look up ahead. Those cliffs over there. There's some free-range humans grazing for selfies. Oh, aren't they majestic? Now, for your safety, don't get between a wild human and their selfie. They will attack you. And if you offer to take too many pictures of them, they'll follow you home wanting more. Do not feed the wildlife.
How many acres is this hole?
It originally started at 400 acres, and now it's expanded to about 1,300 acres. Over here to the right, we have Rampart Range Road. Rampart Range Road was started in the 1930s in order to help stimulate the economy. If you take that road, it'll take you all the way up to Woodland Park, or up north, almost all the way to Denver. Around this bend, we get to see the famous Balanced Rock. Look at that. Is that beautiful or what? Normally during the busy season, all kinds of wild humans will come up here and hold the rock up, keeping it from falling over. So I have to thank all the visitors here for your service. Did anyone notice that there's cement under there?
Yeah.
The reason for that is because, again, during the 1930s, a group of college students tried to topple it over. They were caught before they could finish, but they did cause damage, so they added the cement there as patchwork. Road, if we were to take a right, we'd end up in Manatee Springs. Manatee Springs was very sacred to the Utes because they believed the Great Spirit blessed the spring waters and gave them healing properties. Later, a gentleman by the name of Doc Bell founded Manatee Springs in order to try to help treat people with tuberculosis. However, what a lot of people don't know about Manatee Springs is that it's the pagan capital of the world and where the modern day occult started. Over here to the right, we have Fountain Creek. Fountain Creek was named by French fur trappers that came to the area hundreds of years ago. Coming up ahead and over to the right, we have an adolescent battle arena where wild humans learn how to drive. This is, now you know how I learned how to drive. Also, again over here to the right, this is a restored 1960s motel known as the Red Wing. Here shortly, we'll be passing by Garden of the Gods trading post. which was actually started in 1900. A group of Navajo actually built in the Pueblo design. It started very small and it's expanded to be huge over the century. It's pretty much like a mall in there now, but they do have great bison burgers, a huge selection in their gift shop, and even like a small museum. I even heard they have free fudge samples. I heard this kind of a big deal. And of course, if you want to go scooting around, right over here to the right, you can do that. Yeah. If you have a horse, over here to the right, you can tie it on and go into the trading post. Now, if you really, really love balconies, like a lot, and have a ton of money, over here to the right, one family's home. I've actually never ever seen anyone out on the balconies. I'm starting to think it's just there for show.
Allowed to stop.
No, we can find the parking.
Parking for what?
The parking to take our car. Where is the parking?
The main parking?
No, not the visitor center.
It's probably
parking from here.
probably that way.
Thank you.
Sorry. It's not allowed to stop. I don't know.
Anyone know which parking he was talking about? I thought the wild human was about to attack us. Don't worry, I saved us all.
Thank you.
When we start looking up ahead, when we start to get to the top of this hill, you'll see the main part of Garden of the Gods opening up in the background. Right there, look at that. Isn't that beautiful or what? Another walk. I don't even know where we've been lost this whole time. But I'm just gonna guess on this. So up ahead, if you miss it the first time, you can see the Scotsman again over here to our right. If you miss him the second time, you have one last chance. Starting now over to the right. And if you look below the Scotsman, you can see this formation that looks just like restrooms. Sometimes people mistake them for those such. Isn't that amazing what nature can do?
So who named all the rock formation?
What's that?
Who named all the rock formations?
Oh, I just made them all up.
Oh, okay. Cool.
No, I'm just kidding. Over here to the right is like the biggest. These are big oak trees for us. I know, probably not for everyone else. Some of them have like names on there that who knows who named them, and other ones are just, you know, randomly named. Over here to the right, we have some mule deer. They're far more domesticated than the wild humans in this park. I like to call that rock with everyone on there Selfie Rock. But you can name it whatever you'd like. Up ahead, over to the left, we call this formation Rumpy Fish or Fish Rock.
Sandfish.
Yes, that bicycle is beating us. Alright, we started looking up ahead, a little over to the right, that mountain out there in the distance with towers on it. That's Cheyenne Mountain. Does anyone know what's special about Cheyenne Mountain?
Don't be near it in a nuclear attack.
Well, we're all in trouble here. There's a nuclear attack. So Cheyenne Mountain, there's actually a base built inside the mountain that was started during the 1960s, jointly with Canada, in order to monitor incoming nuclear missiles. They say it's not used for anything anymore. However, a couple of years ago, they invested $300 million in upgrades, and it's heavily guarded still. But it's not used for anything anymore. I mean, besides monitoring Santa, I guess that's a high-risk job. If we start looking over here to the right, you're going to see a pathway down there. That trail has actually been used for thousands of years by different native groups, primarily the Plains natives, to get in and out of the park. In fact, at the top of this hill, there's a stone pillar dedicated to the trail itself, and I'll point that out when we get up there. Over here to the right is that stone memorial dedicated to the trail. Up ahead, that giant rock you see there, we like to call that praying rock because it looks like two hands clasped together. The bottom portion of that rock is called the kindergarten rock because that's where people like to learn how to rock climb and rappel. Over to our right, right, down there in the meadow where the trees are, that's where the natives would set up their teepees. In fact, at the visitor center, you can find black and white photos of the teepees set up. Over here to the left, up there, if you're caught up there without the proper equipment and training, it's a $400 fine, like those individuals there now. And if like search and rescue has to come and get you, it's only around $800 an hour for them to take you down. You've been warned. Up ahead, over to the left, we have these massive boulders that have rode away from this huge formation. Keep in mind that this for this sort of large formation would have been much bigger when it first formed. Here in a moment, off to the left, at the edge of the rock, you're going to see this tree, and it's going to be all twisted with its roots exposed. Keep an eye out for that. I'll explain why here shortly. So almost directly to my left, does everyone see that tree I just described? So that tree's been, they've said that it's about 1,400 years old.
Wow.
And that's probably the oldest living organism in the park. Does everyone remember that one of the conditions of the park being formed was that no alcohol was allowed? So then if we start looking over here to the left across the road, you're going to see that there's a dugout, a depression. Does everyone see that? Right there to the left? That's where the first tavern was built on the original park boundary line. So they would just go there, drink, and then jump over back into the park. Where there's a will, there's a way. We're about to cross over Camp Creek. Camp Creek it used to be water that flowed all year round. It would have been the main water source for natives and settlers. The city's diverted since then, but it used to be there. And of course, over here to the right, we have Rock Ledge Ranch, which is now a historic site owned by the city. It's a cool place to go check out, where you can see the ranch house and cabins from the 1800s. And along some of the hiking trails, some rebuilt huge structures. Does anyone have any questions so far? Awesome. Well, thank you all for coming with me on this adventure. I hope everyone enjoyed it. And I hope if you learned anything at all, it's about the migration routes and behaviors of the wild humans of Garden of the Gods. Thank you. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.
Thank you.